The web tech site uses our matrix and morph solution for overhaul. I'll just show you how that's currently working. So they have a unit on site at the moment, unit BN18. If I click into there, this will take us to the first map that's showing how far the overhaul is complete. The overhaul is made up of 10 cars, so we see 10 cars here, and then there's some more work to be done when they put all the cars together and form a rake. And this is currently showing you that they're almost completed all the work on the cars, and they're obviously putting the thing together and starting to do their rake tests. So what this tells us is the state of progress of any of these jobs. So if I jump into these now, I'll see where this 99.66% has come from. And in fact it's come from here, 99.66%, and it's showing, if I just extend that a little bit more, it's showing that all these jobs are, well, lots of them are 100% complete. There's a test job here that's only 89% complete. So if I press this go button, this will tell me all the jobs that are waiting to be finished to get the 100% completion. And there's only one job at the moment, but this probably started with clearly about 10 or 11 jobs. There's only one to be done. We're approaching the end of this unit. Now, I've been asked to create a new overhaul for the next train. The next train is going to arrive on the 2nd of January in 2019, and they also want to change the scope of work. So let's have a look at the matrix part of our matrix and morph solution. So this is a job matrix. It defines all the work that's going to be done on the new unit. That, in fact, there is the new unit. In fact, that's not quite right. It should be BN15, I think. And the start date is the 2nd of January 2019. So just taking you through this very quickly, here we have a definition of every job that needs to be done. So there's a job number, there's a job ID that will be done at a specific location. It has a number of target hours associated with it. It has a title. And if we run down this list, maybe we can see how each activity has a start day. These are the 10 coaches across there, and there's the rake test. So we can see that this job, for example, will be done, coach B, that will be done on day 6. On coach C, the same job will be done on day 7. And so in here we've got a scheduling information, which is telling us the start day for each of these activities. This is saying who can sign the job off, so this isn't so special. Anybody on the staff can sign this off, but this requires a mechanical competence. This one requires an electrical and a mechanical competence. This is telling us more information about the job. So in some cases we're going to be measuring calibrated equipment, we're going to be taking a note of serial numbers. These jobs here require a special workflow, these are measurements that need to be taken during the test. Now, the reason we have so many settings for each job is that we're going to use one sign-off form for all these jobs. And if I just show you that very quickly, this is the sign-off job, and in fact this is capable of taking any of these pieces of information that the job requires. But it's going to read the matrix, and it's going to use hide and show logic to only show the relevant fields. So this is a generic form that is going to sign off every single one of these jobs. So what we need to do now is we need to there's been some changes to the job matrix because the scope of work has changed, and if we maybe run down to the bottom of the sheet, so that's the bottom of the current matrix, we've got some additional jobs here that need to be added in. So they're additional ones, and we've also got some changes, and changes to the existing job tend to be highlighted in yellow. So okay, here we go, we saw that piece of yellow there, and more here. So it looks like the special workflow for these jobs is going to change to a new version, so that all has to be captured within the new matrix. And I think there's a few more things. There's a competence change there, and there's some rescheduling of some of the jobs there. So what we have to do now is go through a process of creating a new job matrix and pre-populating all these jobs so that we can sign them off one by one to show that we get 100% completion on the next unit. So let's make another job matrix. What we can do then is we should notice first of all that each one of these cells is named. This is called task 173, and the 173 is coming from this ID, this job ID, and that continues all the way down the line, so that this will be competence 173, etc, etc. So that's serial 173. So the additional jobs have been placed down here, and these are unnamed. So what we have to do is make these part of the job matrix, and so we've got a couple of tools that will help us. This is a tool here that just works out what the next job ID will be, because we can't have two job IDs that are the same. So this just helps make sure that we don't have two job IDs that are the same. So it looks for the maximum in this column and adds one to it. And then this one here is a little way of generating names. So what I'm going to do now is just change this formula. Job number is coming from row A, A4, and that's obviously that's the heading for this column. And then B5 is the ID of a job, not this job there, because I want to, not B5, I want to name B591. So if I put 591 in there, then I'm going to use my map to names function to get job number 638. I want to name that cell, that value. If I copy that formula all the way over, then that should so I've finally copied all the names. I'm going to map those names to these cells now, so I'm going to use XLW to do that, and I'm going to use hold the control key down to position that cell there, and then I'm going to hit map to names, and this is going to go through, and it's got to check to make sure it's not creating any conflicting names. But if I check this one now, okay, we've got target hours 6:38, so that seems to have worked. What we have to do now is put this into the job matrix. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to cut that lot there. I'm actually going to paste it just above here. Insert cut cells. And I've done that for a reason, and that's because I'm going to sort the jobs now. So I'm going to go into data and sort, and I'm going to sort on group. This is the group number here. So that's the group. Then the workstation, and then by competence. So if I just go like that, that should have nicely arranged everything. I might actually reorder this, and eventually, excuse me, and eventually the validation process is complete, and I'm ready for conversion. So let's have a look at the next step. Now we're going to get a lot of warnings from Spreadsheet Converter saying, are you sure you really want to make a wrap this size? But the answer is yes, we are. It's going to take a while. Are we happy? Yes, we are. And now the conversion process is taking place. So here is the job matrix that's now converted to a wrap. It's got some unique keys here of the unit number. I've set the start date here on the wrap, and here are all the jobs. We can make live changes to this, so if we found there was a typo in there, we can go in. These are all input cells, so we can reschedule this kind of thing. It is very slow and very cumbersome, but then it's very large, and when we set the save, then it takes quite a long time to save down and commit to the database. But once all the data is in the database, then it's very quick to retrieve that. So what we have to do now is, I might just show you one more thing actually before we go any further. I use, on the administrators page here, there's an overhaul map, and I use this sometimes just to keep track of what what matrix have been applied to which units. So the unit that we're on is this one down here. That's the one starting on the 2nd of January 2019. This is matrix 13. There's a little note here to say it's a new matrix. That is a link to the matrix, and this is the link to the navigation board, where we would use the navigation board to navigate all the sign-offs for all the jobs in the job matrix. But the process that we have to go through now is we've got to create all those sign-off forms so that we can actually navigate through them. So this process is called pre-population, and I'm going to show you how we do that. This folder here contains all the job matrices that we've used on previous jobs. And if I look in JobMatrix 13, there's only these files here that are associated with the job matrix. If I look in the previous folder, you can see that there's a number of other files that are called pre-pop. Now, pre-pop is the process by which we pre-populate all the sign-off forms that will be used by that job matrix. So I can take a copy of that and put it into the JobMatrix 13, and we can break up the process from there. You can see that we've got a number of this is a master, if you like. This contains all the jobs in the matrix, but I actually break it down. This is the first 100 jobs, this is the 100 to 200, 300 to 400, and so I've broken them down so that we don't have too many wrap links on one page. So I break this down into 6 separate documents, but for now I will copy this and I will just pop that into the job matrix 13, and I will rename it. So this is now job matrix 13, and I can start the process from there. If I look into the file, so I've got the file open here, what we can see here is that we've got parts of the job matrix, and depending upon if we've got a 0 here, it means that there's no start day for that particular activity. That's coach B and job ID number 1, so there'll be no wrap link generated. But on this one here for the coach P, if I look into this one here, we can see that there will actually be a link created for that one there. So what we're going to generate is lots of wrap links, and we'll be able to pre-populate those wrap links there. So you can see that there's, depending upon these numbers here, depends upon how we're going to create the jobs. So this is the big list of for pre-population of matrix 13. Now there's probably too much information in here to wrap in one go. It would really put a heavy load on the server. So what we tend to do is we pre-populate 100 at a time, and we make that easy by saying the number in here is 100. So it says true until I get down to job 100 there, and then it changes to false. So all I have to do is select the first 100 and take off the falses, go true, and that will hide all the other jobs. I'll save this down as prepop 13-100, so that's the first 100, and I will convert the wrap over. If I was doing it for 200, then what we would see is we will get jobs. I'll just have to reapply the filter, so I'll select all, take that off to false. And this time we're starting with job 101 in the row, and we're going to continue through to 200, and so on and so forth. So maybe I'll just show you this one quickly. So what we'll do is we'll file, I'll save it down because we're going to create a completely independent wrap. So this will not be 100, but this one will be 200. So let's save that down, and the first thing we'll do as soon as it's saved is we will validate it. It shouldn't take too long, it's whizzing through that. OK, and then we will convert it over. So we'll send it for spreadsheet conversion. And OK, that might take a little longer, but the conversion will take place. We will then install it onto the server, and we're in a position to start pre-populating on the server then. So it's pretty late now, and that's the time to do a job like initializing all the instances. So all the unique keys have been pre-populated, and now we need to initialize all the values on those instances into the database. And this is how we do it. We go here to the sign off wrap, and that's where we've found the initialize instances button. Now what happens when we do this is we're going to lock out this wrap will be unavailable to other users, and that's so that we don't get any data conflicts. So that's why we're doing it out of hours as well. So if I click this now, it's going to produce about 2,500 sign-offs, which is what's required for this overhaul, and it's going through each one, loading the wrap in and saving it down, and it just steps its way through that. It's a big long list, so it's going to take a while to do, and when it's done we'll see finish recalculation here, and it will free up the sign-off form for use by other users, and then we can complete the process. So the completion of the process is just setting up the navigation system. So this finished recalculating shows that all the instances have been initialized, so there's about 2,500 or just over 2,500 jobs that we've created on this one overhaul. Now let's just show how we're going to present this to the shop floor. So first of all I'm going to go to this admin button here. If I go to the overhaul map, there's a little helper here so that I can initialize the navigation page. So this is a navigation page here, and I want to create a navigation page for BN15. It uses Matrix 3. It starts on the 2nd of the January 2019, and I'll just click into here, and it should tell me that the navigator doesn't exist. So the unit management doesn't exist, but we've got a couple of unique keys here. Overhaul is December 18, BN number is BN15. Do you want to create it? Yes, okay. So this then becomes the navigation button, and we can start. We'll just set up job B just to show you how this is working. So that was coach B. So it's saying, do I want to create a wrap with these unique keys? So coach B is now appended in. And this shows us all the jobs on Coach B according to their system. So these are all the systems across here, and it's telling me that we're 0% complete, which is good because we haven't started it. But let's just have a look at, let's see how many jobs we have to go on the break jobs on Coach B. So if we just, and this now lists out all the jobs, and these are all the pre-populated jobs. And they've all been initialized because I can see that all the relevant information has been pulled through from the matrix. So I'm quite happy about that, and this kind of was initialized at this time last night, so it's all run out of hours. And I think all we need to do now is make a button. So the way we make a button is we'll just bounce back through the navigation system. Generally, I'll pick up this button here, so that URL, and I will make a button by going to the home page, admin, and that was BN15, wasn't it? So if I edit this page, and I'm going to, I can either change the source code, or actually maybe simpler still, what I'll do is I'm just going to paste that URL first of all, because I'm going to lose that if I'm not careful. That's the URL I'm going to create, and next unit on site. So if I copy that button there and create a copy of that button, and I'll put this back into the clipboard because that's what I just popped down there. I'll put that back into the clipboard, and I will edit this link, and I will paste that link onto that button there, and I will call it BN15 because that indeed is what it is. Okay, so this button then will probably, if I publish that now, this button will be then placed onto this page here, which is a shop floor page. So this is the current unit on site is BN18, and everything's ready for BN15 to start in the new year. Okay, thanks for listening. There is just one last check that I like to do, and that's just it's a double check to make sure that all the instances have initialized, and I can check that on the pre-population form. So if I launch this one, then what I'm hoping to see is that we've got a 0% pull through, so we don't have the empty value, the red circles that we saw last time. We should now be pulling through all the information from those wrap links. So we've got 0% there. So that, okay, we've got no red circles, and I think that's quite a useful thing to check, just to make sure that everything has initialized properly. So obviously I can go that through all the pre-population forms.